Hey everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Just want to kind of briefly talk about a topic. Somebody had a question about relationships because they're not really understanding that you need to have some separate time away from your partner and to really enjoy their relationship. Although you love them and have that really deep connection with them, or it's hard for you to be apart from them. It's really important that you have your own boundaries, your own space, your own reality, right? So yes, and when you are able to establish that, you're able to come together as more of a whole than just a half, if that makes sense. Because there is somebody out there that is part of us that fits just like a puzzle, and all the pieces come together as one, and you become one when you have that mingling and that integration with each other, right? So some people may call them twin flames, soulmates, things like that. But we have a lot of different things, like there's soul contracts, soulmates, and twin flames, soul families. So the question was geared towards more romantic, your partner, okay? So it's important to have your own time and your own space, right? And not always having to be with them, having to do for them, having them to do for you. You really need to have your own place, and it doesn't mean a separate living arrangements. What I mean is you have your different space. So maybe having a separate room within the home that you both live in, and have your own space. That way, whenever you need to retreat and regroup, you can do that. Or you have your own time for your own spiritual practice. Or if you want to have your own hobbies, then you have that time and space and ability to do that. Because what happens is when you do too much with the other person, too much time together, fights start coming up. You don't have any space. You may start pushing the other person away. There just needs to be time and space between your relationships with each other. So maybe allowing the other person to spend time with their family while you spend time with your family, and just having different hobbies and everything. That's all okay. Okay, so you do need to have some time separate from one another, during your relationship. So that separation will help build the bond, actually. So how does separation really build a bond, right? And it may not seem like it does because you're being separate from that person, and sometimes it's just trust issues, things like that keep you so bonded to the other person, or needing that person to fulfill yourself, right? But even though you have that bond and they complete you, doesn't mean that you can't be who you are without them. All right? So you can complete each other being whole within yourself, if that makes sense. So having that space, separation from the partner that you're with, allows your growth, right? You can take time out for your spiritual practice. You can take time out for your hobbies, what your interests are, because you're not going to have 100% the same interests, right? And if you give in all the time to what the other person wants, then you're not fulfilling your own needs and growth. If the other person fulfills all your needs 100% of the time, then the same for them, right? They're not growing and they're not developing. They're not doing their thing and you're not doing your thing. So you have to be able to do your own thing within a relationship together, all right? So the separation, right? So how does that build a better relationship if you're separate? Okay? What it does is it gives you appreciation for the other person. It allows you time to miss them. And that's something that I grew up knowing, but I didn't really understand it until I actually had the experience. So a lot of my knowledge comes not only from my awakening and seeing, but my personal experiences. So you really need to have that space to yourself, so that way you can regroup, reframe, take time to meditate, think about things. Okay, I need to talk about this situation. I'm not okay with that. We need to discuss this. So you do need that time away because it does build appreciation for the other person, a different perspective and view. Okay, so you can connect with your higher self, right? And so we're not always influenced by the other person. And that would happen with me in my relationships because I would never, it was always me giving into what they wanted, right? And it was always me giving of myself to the point where I had lost myself. And I didn't know who I was anymore because it was all about them and it wasn't anything about me. When a relationship needs to be both, right? Both people, 50-50, not just 100 to 0 or 75 to 25, you know. It's a 50-50. So each person gives, each person brings, and each person has, you know, the time and space to be their own self, right? So allow yourself to have that time to yourself. And when you come together, you'll have more appreciation and love and desire to be with one another because you'll have missed them. You'll have, you know, I am really grateful for them. You'll have the clarity and understanding, right? And it just, when both people are able to do that, right, you build trust, okay? It's just an overall, better relationship when you're able to do that. So the things that keep you from wanting to do that, you know, like I said, is having distrust and, you know, the feeling of lack within yourself or our attachments to other people, right? So those are things to look at in your relationship. Why am I actually needing to spend all the time with this person? You know, and it's coming from within you, not them, right? So take a look at that. Set up some time to have your own space and agree on that. So maybe one night a week, you know, we're going to pick 2 hours or an hour. This is my time. I'm going to go do my spiritual work, or I'm going to go for a walk in nature, and you can go do your thing, right? So, but you do need to start building a relationship where you have separateness, and that way you have your own life, because we are also not only together, but we're separate, right? So we are on a journey together when we are in relationships, but we need to have still our separate journeys, okay? Otherwise, there's no growth there. And then relationships become stale, the energy doesn't flow anymore, and relationships start deteriorating, okay? So it's important, very important, to have that space for yourself for growth and development, all right? So I hope that answers questions, and as the coaching sessions go on and I am answering people's questions, I will do my best to present an answer for everybody else to be able to view and to know, because a lot of times when one person has a question, so do other people, and this will help to answer some questions that people have. So definitely check out the other videos. They're on YouTube, and any questions, please post them below, and like and share. If you know anybody who is open to the advice, or you think they may need the advice to help them, you know, share with them. Allow them to be open to the knowledge and wisdom that is here to share. All right. Have a great day and happy journeys.